Is our influence making an impact? How can we live, work, and serve others in alignment with our assignment? How can we clear away the clutter of our lives and move our personal mission toward success? Welcome back to another episode of the Teachers on Fire podcast, airing live on YouTube every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern. My name is Tim Cavey, and my mission here is to warm your heart, spark your thinking, and ignite your professional practice. Today's Teacher on Fire is Chip Baker. Chip is a fourth-generation educator who has now served as a teacher and coach for over 24 years. He is a multiple-time best-selling author, YouTuber, podcaster, international speaker, and life coach. Find more from him at the Success Chronicles. You'll hear more about that shortly. You can follow Chip on X at ChipBaker19. Chip, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Are you, sir, ready to light it up?
Let's go.
That's the kind of response I'm looking for.
Yes,
welcome
sir.
here. Chip, let's jump right in with story time. Share a story of adversity that you've faced somewhere in your teaching or professional journey and describe how you overcame it.
Oh man, that's every day. Every day. We are working with adversity, but I think for me, it's more of a journey of adversity. A lot of times, when we look at our background, so like, for example, I was raised with a single parent mother, smaller community, I've seen some things. But the beauty of having to grow through tough things is that you can take those things, the blessings and the lessons that you've learned from that, and use those to help others. And so that's what I've chosen to do in my profession, is take the things that I've been blessed to see and grow through in my life and use those to be a blessing to others, hopefully.
The very best way to move on from
Yeah.
adversity is to channel it and allow it to transform you and allow it to bless others who are maybe going through similar challenges, right? And I know I've found that in my life as well. Chip, you're a fourth generation educator, which is incredible. What does that legacy mean to you?
It means everything to me to be a fourth generation educator. It's funny, like every time I say that, I catch myself smiling. And the reason is because it is legacy, it is lineage, it is generational. I've learned so many great things from my mom, grandmother, great grandmother that have come before me, and I've seen how they have given service. Was raised in the church. I tell people I come from church folk. That's down south for meaning a lot with no S, with church folk and educators. And from that means that I've been taught to give and live a life of service. And so it means everything to me because it's shown me that it's bigger than me. It's not about me. And hopefully I'm doing some things that are making, I think I am. Hopefully I'm doing some things in my life that have made them proud.
It's awesome stuff. I have to ask, actually, before we move on, is there a fifth generation educator around, or maybe a sixth? I don't know.
Well, it's funny that you asked that because my son's in high school. He's a junior, and he swears, man, he's not going to be an educator, right? And so
Hey.
we'll see. So my nickname for him right now, we laugh, is 5G. That's what I give him. So we 5G. What's up, man? And so we joke around with that now because of that.
5G, what a great nickname. That works on a few levels, doesn't it? Let's talk about your inspiring work on the Success Chronicles, Chip. Now 8 years and well over 360 episodes in. For those new to your content, tell them what the Chronicles are all about.
Well, Tim, first off, I just want to say, man, thank you so much for doing your research on that. Right. Like that's not anything. I hadn't told you that. Right. And so, man, I appreciate the fact that you've done your research on all of that. But yes, man, Chip Baker, the Success Chronicles is my YouTube channel and podcast. I started that about 8 years ago. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life to share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. And it's truly been a neat journey. Like I said, I'm from a small town in Texas, and to be able to talk with people from all over the world, people from all different genres, people um, that we see on TV, people that we listen to their music, people that we read their books. It's been really cool to be able to just talk with them and learn and grow with them. And so that's what the Success Chronicles is all about. And like you said, we're 360 plus. And just that in itself blows me away when I get to reflect on that. And I'm truly grateful for the journey.
That's an impressive milestone. And
Yes,
I
sir.
heard from another podcaster, Danny Bauer, this idea that the ones who really end up being successful in this, let's call ourselves small time creators, the ones who are successful are the ones who can really stick with it and be consistent. And wow, have you demonstrated that? So my hat goes off to you, sir, and keep up the great work there at the Success Chronicles. Listener, viewer, if you're not subscribed, head on over there right now and check it out. I also want to touch on your Impact of Influence book series. Who are these stories about, and who, Chip, is your intended audience?
Yeah, so we just put out the 7th volume of the Impact of Influence. Man, that's another thing that's been really neat. The Impact of Influence book series is made up of powerful influencers that have, been blessed and fortunate to learn or be around someone or have something that happened in their life that influenced them, and it influenced them in such a manner that it's impacted them and caused them to be who they are today, right? And so what they've done is they've learned the lessons, they've taken the blessings from the lessons, if you will, and they're using that to make our world make a positive difference in our world today. And so that's what the Impact of Influence book series is all about. Like I said, we just released volume 7, and it's a great collection of stories. And the beauty of it is, typically when you purchase a book, it's just one author, right? But each of the books have at least 15 authors in each of them. So, I mean, you're getting, at least 15 different perspectives on life, 15 different perspectives on lessons learned, 15 different or more perspectives on, lessons that you can use and apply to help people. And so, the intended audience is people that's looking to make a positive difference in our world.
Just following you on social media, I've noticed you've put together some gatherings, probably many over the years, I would imagine, of these authors that have contributed to these anthologies. What a great process, because what you're doing is you're not just putting out great literature and great inspiration, stories of inspiration, you're also building a community. Do I have that right?
Oh, without a doubt. We call it the Impact of Influence family. And really that's what it's really all about. And I've said this before too, to the group, there's no excuse for all of us not to meet our bucket list goals because we're connected to so many amazing people. And so, all of these people have made a positive difference in my life. Right. And so I know, from the readers, you're definitely going to get lessons from them because just powerful people with great hearts to serve.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for joining us, Teachers on Fire. If you're getting value from this conversation, give this video a like wherever you happen to be tuning in, and go ahead and say hello in the live chat. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know where you're coming to us from this morning. Education leaders, Chip, are constantly pulled in so many different directions. Yes. What are one or two powerful principles that help you determine where to spend your time and energy each day?
I think when you're thinking about principles, I think there's a couple things that come to mind for me initially is being intentional, right? And having purpose, right? So I think, you have to be intentional about what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're intentional about the impact that you want to make. You want to make sure that you take intentional actions to be intentional, right? And so what that does is that gives you a purpose, right? If you notice, I said that different. I didn't say that gives you a purpose. No, that gives you a purpose, right? It gives you a purpose. So now, like when you get there, you are showing up and it's on, right? We're on fire. Get that?
Yes.
Right. And so it's for a reason. And then, as you said earlier, from doing your research, it puts you in alignment with your assignment. And so what happens is when you're in alignment with your assignment, uh, it's not work.
Mm,
It's a mission, it's a calling, it's your purpose, it's your passion, it's the core essence of who you are.
mm.
So it's not work. You show up and you're making a positive difference in the life of people. And I think those are the two key things that come up for me initially when I hear you ask that question.
That makes me think about this show and what I do
Yes.
every Saturday morning. I'm sure you
Yes,
can
sir.
relate, but I sit down and have amazing conversations like this one with other educators around the
Mhm.
world. And it's something that connects with me and my mission, my purpose. And I
Yes.
think to a lot of our friends and colleagues, Chip, this would feel like work. It would feel
Right.
very, very stressful. And certainly there are aspects of it that are definitely work, but there's something sweet about finding that spot where you align with, as you say, align with your purpose and mission, and at the same time are able to help others.
There's a word that you said, consistency.
Mm,
Right. You talked about that word when you talked about the 360 plus episodes, doing it for 8 years. Well, what happens, like in our case, you know, to have that consistency means that I love this.
hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's what I do. I love doing it. And so it's easy to have consistency in something that you're intentional about, that you're on purpose with, that you are in alignment with, because, like I said, you love it and it means everything to you. And so the influence, the impact that it's going to make on the lives of so many people.
I think to the educators and education leaders listening and watching, I would challenge you with this. Find that thing outside of your work that
Mhm.
really drives you and propels you to do some kind of what others might perceive as work, but something that for you really aligns with your purpose beyond your contract. And think about that. Think about finding that space that really brings you alive outside of your job. Well, Chip, opportunities look so different today than they did for you and me when we left high school. What's one piece of personal or professional advice that you would like to share with the graduates of 2024?
I have a principle that I call the SHG principle, right? And the S is show up. I believe that it's important that whoever you are, graduate, person in life, it doesn't matter age, this applies to everybody. Show up. What I mean by that is, if you're supposed to be at a certain place at a certain time, be there early and not on time, because on time is late. And then when you're there, be in the moment, so that you learn the things that you're supposed to learn, and it allows you to have that awareness. So show up. The next thing is have a great attitude. We've all heard that before, two things we can control is our attitude and our effort, right? Well, I believe that gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. Hold on. Let me give you that one again. Hold on. Wait a minute. Uh, hey, gratitude is the attitude that determines our altitude. And what I mean by that is we have to be grateful for what we have. Um, things could be better, but things could also be way worse. And when we can learn to be grateful for what we have, it allows us to be able to just work with what you got, right? And then what happens on top of that is you'll soar to high heights because you're learning to make it work with what you have, right? So that's the H. And then the G is give your all. And so in anything that you're doing, it's important to give everything you've got to it, because maximum effort equals maximum results and maximum benefits and maximum influence and maximum impact and maximum lighting you on fire to do what you do, right? And so it's important to give that maximum effort, because on the other side of that you benefit. And so the sum of all of that I gave you is this. when you can allow yourself to show up, have a great attitude, and give your all, what happens is, um, first off, you get more opportunities from that, because I believe opportunities bring opportunities. But then the other piece of that is it allows you to not just leave a legacy when you go get to visit the big man, but it allows us to live a legacy by our day to day actions.
So rich, Chip. There was so much there. If you're following along, I've tried to make some notes in the comments. So we've got the SHG principle: show up. Here it is: show up, have a great attitude, and give your all.
Yes, sir.
Love that. And I love that takeaway, Chip, that gratitude is the attitude that determines your altitude. Do I have that right?
You have it right.
I'm going to definitely have to share that with my students back at the elementary school. Love that as well. Let's start to shift gears a little bit, Chip. Outside of education, what's another area of learning for you? What is it that ignites your passions when you leave the practice or the education conversation and brings you alive as a human being?
I think we're doing that right now. You know, the technology piece, the interviewing piece, the having conversations with people that you can learn from. Um, it's I'll just share kind of, and before we got on, we were talking about some different things like what platform, yada yada. I had a conversation earlier this morning with someone that I connected with too, and we were discussing, uh, the different things that we use, technology, the pieces of equipment, processes. So I think it's always room for learning and growing. I think being an I'm gonna go offensive line coach here on you. You should tell my guys, once you stop your feet, you're beat, right? And so in life, once you think you know it all, well, you're beat. Like somebody else is learning and growing. That's unacceptable.
Right.
So you have to make sure we continue to learn and grow and find things that ignite our passion. And I'll just tell you this. Um, when I started my YouTube channel and podcast, I knew nothing about any of this. Hold on, let that sink in for a little bit. I've been doing it for 8 years. And when I started my YouTube channel and podcast, I knew nothing about any of this. Right. And so I
Yeah.
took no communications classes in college. I took no editing. I have not taken anything that pertains to this, but I have learned it since then. And I tell you, like every time I have an opportunity to be interviewed, either in person or online, like I ask questions. Like I've been to podcasts where, like, I've been doing it for 8 years, but the person has, I was their first episode on their podcast, and I'm asking them, like, what's your setup? What cameras you use? What about your lighting? What do you use to edit? What's your software? Like, I'm asking all of those questions because I want to learn to be better. So long short of that is technology, always striving to find ways to learn and grow.
I love that we are geeking out a little bit here on the content
Yeah.
creation. That's a passion for both of us.
Yes, sir.
And I resonate with what you just shared too. I read back in 2018, I think it was, I read Mindset by Carol Dweck. And once I latched onto this idea that, okay, if I go into this with a growth mindset, literally every rep, I'm going to improve. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be really messy to start. But if I can see that long tail and have the confidence that I'm going to improve over time, then it's almost a sure thing. And so I went into it with that mindset. It sounds like you did too. And here we are. We've learned a few things along the way, and we're still learning, right? These are not perfect productions, but definitely enjoying that journey of iteration and growth. If you're enjoying this conversation, Teachers on Fire, consider adding the Teachers on Fire YouTube channel to your morning commute. I'm not suggesting you watch us while you're driving, but you can use YouTube as a form of audio, as your audio input there in your car, and that would help me and my work absolutely. Chip, as we start to wrap this up, share about one personal habit or productivity hack that contributes to your success and keeps your fire burning. Is there something you do on the daily that really helps you get it all done?
It is something that I feel that I strive to do very well is um, I'm intentional about prioritizing my time. I know that man, time is a limited resource, right? Like they print money, right? You know, they can make more money, but time, this moment of this day, we will never get it back again ever.
That's good.
I mean, think about that. This moment of this day, we will never see it again ever. And so what that tells me is that I got to give you my A game right now,
Mm,
right? Like it's important to me to be on point right now and in the moment right now because we can't go back. And so what that means to me is like there are some things that I prioritize in my life, and I have what I call a balanced pie, right? So if you can visualize teachers, a pie chart, right? And so in that pie chart, the sum total is 100%, right? And so in that chart, I have 10 things that are important to me, right? And I'll just give family, no faith, family, you know, career, being the glue, like some of those things, like those, I've prioritized those things that are important to me. And I don't do anything outside of those things. Right.
mm.
And so if you break those 10 things down in that chart, that's like 10% in each one of them. It's unacceptable for me to get 10% to anything. So my pie chart's like 1,000, right? My pie chart on 1,000. And so, that's one thing that I've done that has really helped me. And then taking it even further is uh, just organizing with calendar, organizing with making lists, daily lists where you can check it off, scratch it off, like handwritten list, right? And so you ask for one, but really that's my flow of how I prioritize. The big picture is the balanced pie. Coming down, honing into that is the calendar. I make sure that I have certain windows for certain things, and then on the daily, my daily reflection at the end of the day, oh, I need to be better on this. I did this well. Make my list. Then tomorrow, I hit the ground running on working through that list.
So good. Well, maybe in a future episode, Chip, you and I will have to go through the pie here
Oh, I
on the
love
live
to.
stream.
I love to do that. That'd
That'd
be
be-
awesome. It's actually I have a graphic for it. I wish I'd have known. I would have shared the graphic with you because it's a must see, and I present on that too. Like I've shared that with people, and they've also like they've said it's so like simple but really complex. I've gotten great responses on it. So yeah, you let me know. I'd love to do that.
That would be a lot of fun. Okay, we'll put that one away. We're going to start to wrap up with some rapid fire questions, Chip. I'll try to resist the urge to do much following up here.
Okay.
Share about someone we should follow on Education X on Instagram or LinkedIn and share why they've been inspiring you lately.
Ooh, man, that is a good one. And I know it's rapid, but I'm reflecting because I'm thinking of so many people, right?
It's a
I
lot of
think
authors there on the Impact series.
all right, and that's where I'm gonna go. I would start with the impact of influence authors. So I'm gonna combine them. It's a lot of people in there because they all are doing great things. It's superintendents, um, head athletic directors, people in the community that are speakers. So it's great people. The impact of influence authors.
All right. Point us to an edtech tool that you currently love using rather, somewhere in your professional practice.
Google, anything, the Gmail, the Google suite, all of
Mm.
that it's money.
Recommend one book, one that you've been reading lately, or one of your all-time faves. I guess beyond your own, right? Because you've got quite a few. But yeah, there we go. And tell us why you recommend it.
No, I go with John Maxwell, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth.
Mm.
And so the reason I go with that is because it gives you so many laws on growth, which allows you to look in personally, right? and be a better version of yourself.
As a support to my work here, Chip, who is one educator or speaker, thought leader that you would recommend I interview on the Teachers on Fire podcast? And I know this is hard to separate all the stars that you've chatted with over the last 8 years, but is there one guest that you would say, Tim, you got to connect with this person?
Oh man, I'm gonna go off the top of my head. I'm gonna go Troy F. Kemp.
Okay.
He's over professional development at the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta, and so great man. But let me go a little further. I'm doing some research on a project, communication and education. I want to throw this little plug out there. I just did an interview of like 9 amazing people that are the caliber of Troy F. Kemp that I told you. 3 young African American male superintendents from Texas, Dr. Darrell Henson, Dr. Talton, Cornell Gilder. I mean, and so like all of those guys are powerful. Damon Harris, I'm gonna throw him out there. Charles Woods. Sorry, I know you just said one, man, but this is so good. Like it's so good. Lamont Lyons. I mean, they are like killing it.
That sounds really good. I will go back through the transcript here and take some careful notes. Just for fun, on a different note, is there anything that you're streaming right now? I just finished a weird series called Ripley on Netflix. Is there something that you've been enjoying in your downtime when you've got no brain power left for anything productive?
Man, it's funny you asked that. I was just vegging out to that the other day because at the end of the week, I'm mentally dead, right? But I like the Pivot podcast.
Okay.
I like watching that, former athletes. And so I love their guests who they bring on, and anything Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher.
What are the best ways, Chip, as we close, what are the best ways for the Teachers on Fire to follow you and connect with your work?
So all of my social media is at Chip Baker, TSC, as in the Success Chronicles, except for X, and it is Chip Baker 19. I don't want to. I'm on all platforms, so whatever your platform of pleasure is, I'm on all of those, and so please go check me out there.
Sounds good, Chip. Again, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your time with the podcast today. This has been fun and enlightening, inspiring for me to connect with someone who is on a similar journey, a much richer and deeper journey, I must say. So I look up to you in terms of your longevity. Teachers on Fire, I'm your host, Tim Cavey, and I'm so grateful that you decided to spend some of your day tuning into this podcast or video. I hope that in some way the content you heard today from Chip Baker sparked your thinking and ignited your practice. And I'll meet you next week right here on the Teachers on Fire podcast. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.